Hey everybody, John Huber here from Maryland K-12. I'm going to take a look at this incident that we saw reported by the sheriff's office down at Snow Hill High School. It was about a week and a half ago or so. It's been very quiet, haven't heard anything about it, and that's probably a good thing because you would assume that things have been taken care of properly and um, things are just proceeding as normal. But let me give you a little insight about a couple of things here. First of all, there's been no follow-up, um, no more information coming out, which is probably a good thing. It's normal. You're probably not going to hear a lot about it, so that's probably okay. Um, just for those of you who don't know, what usually will happen is there's two different investigations that will take place. One will be the legal end of it, and I really don't know anything about that. The other end is the school part of it, and I know a lot about that. Um, School has to do just like anything else. They do an investigation, what happened, who started it, whatever, get all the details, and then decide what charges that the student will be charged with. When I say charges, I don't mean charges like legal charges. I mean in the school system, charged with violating the student handbook, violating the school code of conduct, which is published every year. It's available online and has all the things you can and can't do. The student, it's very similar to a court of law. They're charged. They have to be provided information in writing to say that this is the part of the student handbook that you violated, and the school will then recommend a particular type of punishment, if you will. I know that's a bad word, Dale, but that's it's essentially what it is. So what's going to happen? I really don't know. It's interesting, and that's kind of what I'm getting at. You look at Worcester County's student handbook, you look at their code of conduct, it is very vague. It is very nebulous, maybe you could say. It has wide ranges of possible consequences for a wide range of possible actions. Everything from warning to expulsion. And there are lots of therapeutic, restorative types of measures involved in there. So what the interesting thing is that the minute this came out, you look on social media and everybody's piling all over the place. Everyone's going, hey, the parents, you got to take charge. The parents, it's the parents' fault. Uh, I tell you, I've been involved in a lot of these situations. Is it the parents' fault? Maybe. You don't know. We don't know. I've seen some of the best and most terrific parents have kids who make horrible, terrible mistakes. Everybody wants to blame the parents for all this until their kid makes a mistake. Then all of a sudden they want leniency. So what's going to happen? Who knows? I will say this: there's a little something in this in this thing that the sheriff wrote when he released this that kind of caught my attention. I've been waiting to hear something on this, and I haven't. So let me point it out to you. It's what I like to do. I like to read between the lines. It says there was an isolated fight that took place between two students. I'm looking at what the sheriff wrote. There was an isolated fight took place between two students. After the fight broke up, the school administration began to investigate the incident. Okay. It says at that time, one of the students involved became disorderly and the school resource deputy was called to assist. So what they're saying is that for the initial fight or for the initial event, the school resource deputy must have not have been called to assist, which is interesting because yes, fighting fighting might not be a breaking of the law, and it might not be something an SRO would generally arrest a kid for, but a fight needs to be broken up nonetheless. And I find it surprising that the SRO was not called initially, but again, I don't know, I wasn't there. So that's interesting. It says, and at that time, the student became involved, became disorderly. The school resource deputy was called to assist. Upon the arrival of the deputy, the student was actively assaulting the administrator. So it would appear that there was a fight. The SRD was not there. Was not, maybe not called, not there for whatever reason. And then as they started investigating, it began to get a little, somebody want to go back for more, as they say. Then the school resource deputy was called or arrived. So why wasn't the SRD there to begin with, therein lies an interesting question because it very well may indicate some type of a procedure that they follow where they don't get involved in fights, unless, I'm not saying that's the case, I'm saying it's possible. That caught my attention. Why that was, I just don't know, and I can't say. Um, so what happens is the school system will take this kid, and then the superintendent or the superintendent's designee, and only those folks can remove a kid permanently from a school or can expel the kid. Um, where that's going to go and what that procedure is like in Worcester County, it remains a secret because their behavior handbook policy is very vague. I know in a lot of counties it's very procedural. Usually, I can tell you, state says you have this thing has probably already happened. As I'm talking to you, it's been about a week and a half. It's supposed to be 5 days, 5 school days that they have this hearing. They present the school presents their evidence. The student and has a right to legal representation. It's a hearing, but it's kind of an informal hearing. And then the superintendent or his designee makes a decision and says you're going to have an extended suspension. You're going to be suspended the rest of the year. You're going to be expelled. Then the question is, well, what does expelled mean? In some schools, it means you go to an alternative school for the remainder of the quarter or maybe the next quarter, whatever. I don't know what grade this student's in, so there is a very strong possibility that this student will probably, if he's not a senior, he very well may be back in school next year, the year after, depending on what grade the kid is. So anyway, I just want to check in on that, let you know about that. It's an interesting point. Why was the SRD not there to begin with? I don't know. I can't say. The policy is very vague. No one really knows. If anybody knows anything about this, I'd love to hear it because these are the kinds of things that just really eat at a lot of communities. They'll see this and they'll go, kid needs to be kicked out. Hold on, let's take a look and let's see what happened. Let's put it up against the policy. But I will say, before we go chastising the parents, think about what your child may do or when you're not around. And I have to be honest with you, parents. Some of the things your kids might do when you're not around, you would be shocked. So before we go passing judgment on other parents, I don't know. I'm just saying, think about that. So anyway, I hope I can provide a little bit of insight. If anybody has any information, I'd love to hear from you. So thanks. I appreciate you listening, and I hope it didn't go too long. And I'll try and edit this down so it's a little more a little shorter in length. So anyway, thanks. Have a great day.